Good morning, everybody. This is Velu from B.Arch. So I'm going to explain or um, about drawing questions like 2D, 3D, and theme sketch. All three questions. So we'll go by the mock test. So I'm going to take a second mock test, that is uh, design and draw in the given space a mural. Can you hear me, all of you? And see my screen? Yes, okay. So you can, if you want, you can take down the question so that you can compare when I'm doing that, when I'm showing it. It's all factors. I'll give the constraints and the factors of how they evaluate the sketches. For example, uh, 2D. If you take 2D, what are the factors they consider in the question, the answers? What are the factors they consider in the 3D and even the theme sketch also? It's not just randomly giving marks. It's properly calculated each and every aspects of the drawing. I'll give some examples and the criteria what they check in the question. So just a second. Um, See, for example, if you take, it's better, I can explain what are the criteria they check in the answers in the drawing. 2D, for example, 2D. First thing is wow factor. What is wow factor? The answer, the sketch should have something excellent. The excellent or fantastic, marvelous, is something outstanding. That is wow factor. So they look into that wow factor through. It can be a, if it is theme sketch or a 3D composition, it can be a perspective, very good perspective, perfect, or a different perspective, but it looks logically correct. So through the perspective, you can make the composition interesting, outstanding. Through the light and shade, a fantastic way of taking the light and shade, and the transparency of the object or translucent of the object, the object surface, the textures. Through that also you can make the composition interesting, very interesting. And drawing skill, what is drawing skill? The proportions of the objects and the shapes of the objects. It should be proper. If it is disproportionate, the composition is disproportionate, or the objects are disproportionate, then that will not be considered as a drawing skill. So shapes and proportions are very, very important when you draw, when you say drawing skills. They'll see that you allow only two questions. See, you will just don't keep on asking the questions. I cannot answer all the questions immediately. One by one, I'll take one by one. So someone asked, what are the criteria they check in the drawings? That I'm explaining. After that, we can go one by one, the questions. Okay. So Let me complete the criteria what they look for in a particular question. Then I'll show how to do it, how to handle that. Then perspective correctness should be there in 3D composition. Perspective should be there in 3D composition. Must ensure. Or else what happens is the scene or the arrangement of the objects will not look proper or logical, real. So perspective correctness should be there. Then appropriateness of the subject, appropriateness. The relevant object should be there. Whatever is being asked in the question, it should be there, mustn't should be there. Or else uh, they think you didn't understand the question itself. So the relevancy of the objects or the subject should be there. Okay, and neatness and clarity. Um, what is neatness? Extra lines, unnecessary lines should be erased or cleaned, and sometimes the thumb impressions will be there on the paper when you are shading it. So as I told you, I am explaining about the criteria, what they look into the sketches. I'll take one by one. Don't keep on shooting the questions. Then, uh, yeah, I'll answer all the questions. Okay, just so I am on the criteria of 2D and 3D and Team Sketch. Okay, I'll explain that one. Then we can go for further this thing. Okay. I was explaining about 3D composition. What are the things should be there in the 3D composition? Creative ability. What is creative ability? The composition should look different. Okay, when I'm arranging the objects, or if you can see my screen, so I can show some sketches here. Okay, so when you're making the composition, so when you're arranging the object, you have to go for the idea of 3D composition. For example, I'll take three cuboids and two spheres and make a stable and this is just an example, a stable and interesting composition. So you can draw a small sketch. There's a, So I'm going to take three cuboids, and this kind of composition also you can make. Is it looking interesting and stable? You have to check. It should be stable and interesting. So I'm just giving an example how to arrange and make the composition interesting. So once if you decide that this composition is looking good, then you can put it in perspective. Once if you do that one, then it looks interesting and stable also. After that, you can do something different. Okay, so I'll show one more idea of the same composition. So compared to these two things, which is looking interesting, choose what is looking interesting, then put it in three-point perspective. It can be on side view or bird's eye view because normal eye will look very normal, so it will not be interesting. So always you can go for three-point perspective. There is eye view or bird's eye view. Extreme perspective that looks more interesting than the normal perspective, 1 point and 2 point. Okay, so the same thing. I'll choose. I'm going to draw one more composition of the same object. At the time, I can go for something different. So this composition will not look stable, but it's looking interesting. So I'll to balance it, I'll place one more cuboid. Yes, the composition should be stable because we are talking about the architectural design. So the stability is very, very important there. So keeping the stability, if you're able to get that sense of asymmetrical composition, of course that's damn good. That will be unique design, managing with the interesting elements as well as the stability. It's not that easy. So that is a challenge we are having design. Okay, it should be interesting as well as it should not be symmetrical, and it should be dynamic. So these are the things you are supposed to deal with. That means you have to come up with the solutions. So that is a problem in the design. Okay, so now I'm going to place that sphere here, one sphere, so that it looks more stable here. And to balance it, I can keep one more stone here on the ground. So if I show this one in three-point perspective, how it looks, we'll check that. It looks normal now. So I'm going to take the eye level here, three-point perspective, and side view. Take the vanishing point outside the paper. Take the vanishing point outside paper. Then VP1, VP2, and VP3 will be outside. So that object looks not much distorted. The shadow is not that important because we are not dealing with the shadow here. Whenever you want to draw composition, draw the object transparent so that you can place the object, some object on the top, and you will be knowing the position of it. Then you can draw the composition which you did. So you know the position of the object. Then you can show a little bit of shadow on the ground. So you can make this composition more interesting by texture also, by the light also. The light falls on the top from the left side. So this should be medium shade, this should be dark shade. And if you change the material of the object, then it will look more interesting. So if you compare this sketch and with this sketch, definitely it looks more interesting than the 2D. That is because of the perspective you added. What do you mean by breaking the perspective? Okay, so that's how you work on the 3D composition in different aspects. So I give the aspects as a criteria that they look into in 3D composition. I'm going to give 2D composition criteria, what they look into. So first thing is the wow factor. As usual, it can be any sketch, 2D or 3D or thin sketch. It can be any sketch. Wow factor should be there. Aesthetic sensitivity. What is aesthetic sensitivity? The aesthetic sensitivity is something the shape should be uh, pleasing, and it should not be hurting. It should not be crowded, or it should not be confused. Or neat shape, proper shape, and the line should be even. And aesthetic is a beauty of lines. It can be curved line or straight lines. The shape should be proper. It should not be distorted. Okay, there is aesthetic sense. As aesthetic sensitivity, the shapes and proportions also, and even the colors. 2D composition should have all these elements: proportion, shape, colors. Color choice. How you choose colors? It depends on the subject. For example, if you're talking about some uh, girl child, say girl child, at the time, what kind of color you are supposed to choose? You can go for pink, but that is a girl child color, but the message is alertness now. So you have to use something contrast shades, which gives the alertness for the subject. So that's how you choose the color concept. Yeah, you should have the color concept, meaning what is a triadic color and what is a complementary colors, analogous color, split complementary colors, warm colors, cool colors, monochromatic colors. These are the color combinations what already existed. So use any apt color combinations. So by default the composition look great because you are using the default color combinations. Yeah, you can use a sketch pencil for drawing outlines for 2D composition. Even for thin sketch also you can use, but you'll not get the depth when you have an outline. No. No, they're asking. So you can buy a Stedler color pencils without wax content in it. That means ordinary um, uh, Stedler color pencils, 36, sorry, 34 or 36 colors you can buy. That's the best one, but it's a bit expensive, but it gives a more density, good density. The color will be very rich. Yeah, of course you can use black pen, no doubt, but it should not be it should be apt for your concept. So everywhere you cannot use a black outline or something. If it's related, if it's needed, then you can go for it. Okay, I was talking about 2D criteria and the factors what they look into in the sketches. So we completed by 2D composition and color choice I was talking about, and coloring skills. Coloring skill. What is coloring skills? The coloring skill, the color should not go out of the shade. The color should not go out of the shade. And when you're filling the color, it should be blended. The line should not be visible. Absolutely, you should not fill the color. Don't put the pressure on the paper. Don't put pressure on the paper. That is something color coloring skills. Then color combinations. It must and should. Just Google it. You'll get a lot of color concepts. Then remember that color concepts. Then you can use it in the composition. So by default, it look good. Can we use graphite powder? Of course, you can use it, but the thing is, the powder, before they evaluate the sketch, it should not go off. You have to fix it. I don't think they allow you to fix the powder, or else it go off. So don't take that risk. Don't use any soft pastels or charcoals or anything which will go off before fixing it. The pencil is best pencil is a Stedler. Okay, Stedler from H pencil to 6B pencil. H pencil to 6B pencils. Okay, yeah, nice color combination depends on the subject. One thing. Other thing is complementary color is very good because it gives it contrast shades on the paper, and split complementary color if you take that is also very contrast, so you can go for it. And analogous color, if it is a harmonious colors, if you want to use harmonious colors in this composition, you can go for analogous color. There is anything. Okay, just quickly I show how the color concept can be remembered. Okay, so just draw a circle, sorry, equilateral triangle. This is R, Y, B. Keep this red on top itself so that you remember the red will be all on top always. And these are the primary colors. Right side will be yellow, left side will be blue. So this is a trick where you can remember the color concepts. Then you can go for one more equilateral triangle for the secondary colors. R and Y. If you mix, you get secondary color orange and is violet and green. So this star shape. So you remember the position of each colors now. So primary colors and secondary colors. What is secondary color? If you mix two primary colors, you get the secondary colors. Yeah, I'll explain right now the color combinations quickly. And this is secondary color. If you want to get a secondary color, sorry, tertiary color, you have to mix primary and secondary. So that will be reddish orange and yellowish orange and yellowish green and bluish green and bluish violet and reddish violet. So this is all tertiary colors. So you know the position of each and every color. So if you want to choose, yeah, I'll explain theme sketch after this one. Just hold on. One by one, I'm explaining one by one, so this will be more um, one, helpful in the exam, the color theory. Okay, so if you want to choose complementary color, it's 180 degree, opposite color, red and green. So 180 degree, blue and orange. You know the position, so always 180 degree is a complementary colors. Wherever it is on the color wheel. So you remember. So right side of your color wheel is warm because red and yellow. Left side of your color wheel is cool because blue and green. As simple as that. So six colors left side, six colors right side. If you can note this color wheel quickly and remember, then you will never forget it. Okay, split complementary color. So if you want to choose three colors, so always you can go for triadic colors like secondary color is triadic colors, primary color is triadic color, even the tertiary color also triadic colors, equilateral triangle. You understand? So if you want to choose three colors, I want to choose four colors in composition for the composition. What to do? Yes, two sets of complementary color I can use, red and green and blue and orange. Of course, the composition look good because of the contrast. Or else I can go for yellow and violet, don't use because the paper will be white always, the background uh, will be white. So it's not appealing when you put the yellow on white. It will not be contrast. Don't use for that combination, especially violet and yellow. If you are able to manage with the background of the yellow, then you can use it. Yeah, since I have to cover a lot of things, I am going fast, so I can slow down little bit. Okay, I don't think they'll ask for the historical monument or anything like that because that will take time. See, what is the aptitude test? It's not something professional test. So, are you suitable for this field or not? Through the drawing, they can make out the inclination. That's why it is called the aptitude test. It's not professional test. So you have to show the inclination. Never give the incomplete question. That means whatever you feel like, just draw it on the paper. Don't give blankness or empty spaces here and there in the sketch. Okay, that's very very important. That shows your inclination. That means at least you're trying. You're showing the attitude of tryingness. Instead of saying that, no, I don't know. Yeah, of course, you don't know. That's why you get into this field, to know the field. But you have to show your attitude, not the professional, the authenticity, right? So never give empty paper. Whatever you feel like, for example, I want to ask to draw a bus stop. What to do? You take all the elements which look like a bus stop, whether it's perspective or not. At least you'll have the awareness of the environment. That's what they want. How far your design sensitivity uh, is there in your work, on your work. That's more important. So subjectively, the environment, you should include all the elements which is related to the bus stand or bus stop. Okay, if they ask you to draw a railway station, what are the things will be there? Whether it's in perspective or not, whether we're going to show the shapes and shadows or not, but you have to put the elements, draw the elements. It may look proper or improper. That's immaterial, but you have to draw the elements. That's very important. So you might think, okay, I'm not good in one cars or bus or vehicles. Don't worry about that one. You have to just draw the elements there. On the road, yeah, of course, it should be there. After getting into the field, definitely you can learn all these things how to draw a car and the vehicles. You understand? The detail, of course, the observation skill. They ask for the observation skill also. How much you remember? Okay? So they're not testing your professional authenticity, they're testing your aptitude. Keep that in mind. Yeah, even human figure also, not detailed. The proportions is very important. As I told you, proportions of human figure. Just draw one circle of a body and lay it there. Cylinders. So you're showing the proportion. Definitely it looks like a human figure. With the shapes and shadows a little bit, how much details required. Upon with that you can. So enough. So if you want to draw a kid, huge head, small body, so if you are able to draw a little bit of details, especially the head, so just do the dark shades. One side light always. So it looks more not detailed. Of course, it looks like a human face and the head, right? You got it? Okay. So again, I am going back to the criteria what they expect in um, in the question. Neatness and clarity, this I explained already, and the creative ability they'll expect. So that means uniqueness of the content should look more different and attractive. So they'll ask only two questions. It can be a 2D or 3D or theme and theme, or it can be a 3D and 3D, or it can be 2D and 2D. They can ask anything, but two questions will get. Gunashri, okay? Okay, so this we are done with the 2D questions. Now we'll go for the theme sketch. So what is the criteria they expect in the theme sketch? Of course, wall factors should be there. 3D composition, 3D object should be there. 3D object means with the shapes and shadows and the textures. So theme sketch should be shaded, not just outline. So it's very simple to take shapes and shadows in Team Sketch also. I will show you now. Just go for one side light. So this should be light shade. This is a light direction, and this should be medium shade and dark shade. So there should not be any confusion. You'll get the solidity of the object within three shades and the shadow. So never draw the shadow in front of the object. So the whole thing will be dark. So take the shadow at the back. So three shades is minimum. It can be on at the bottom. You'll have the very dark shade, dark line. So that's how we can manage with those shades and shadows and the textures. Textures, of course, some pattern will be there on the surface of the object. You understand? So simple job. Whenever you draw 3D composition or thin sketch, go for the dramatic light, one side light. All the objects should have a same angle of light. There should not be any confusion. So that it look, so who is going to calculate the shadow? But it looks like a shadow, right? Okay, so not white more. You can use eraser because since you are using the pencil, the graphite pencil, you should be able to erase the graphites, the pencil, using the eraser, and you can go for precision eraser for doing the job, so that you can get a very short highlights. Okay, precision eraser. See, in Team Sketch, they will not mention any perspective concept. Okay, so if you take a few questions, I'll show the question. Before that, I'll try to complete this criteria. I came up to shapes and shadows and 3D objects in Team Sketch. Then texture should be there, the different quality of surface of an object. It can be human figure or it can be a box or anything object or animals. But texture should be there, relative textures. And perfect perspective corrections, correctness of perspective, sorry. Perspective correctness, okay? And neatness and clarity. Extra line should not be there. Some students they written that sketch. The sketch will be behind. They wouldn't have observed that one. They wouldn't have erased it. So it looks like a transparent banana or transparent pineapple or transparent apple because the behind line will be visible. So such kind of things you have to remove. There is cleanliness. So you have to clean that sketch. Okay. Then, as I told you, relevant object for the subject. Relevant object for the subject that gives the ambience of the subject, the environment. So it should be there. It should be added for the question. And ability. There is nothing but something different, so that it stands out, attracts, and make it to say, "Wow, it looks so Hello, can you hear me now? Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to talk about theme sketch now. Uh, how to decide the perspective concept. When you get the question, if it is interior, if you think it's interior, then you can go for one point perspective. Okay, and straight. One point perspective, interior, straight view, not from the corner. I don't know where I left. I lost the audio. Um, can you just give cue where I left? Where you didn't hear the audio? You're not able to hear the audio at the time. Can you give me the cue? Even now also, can you hear me? Okay, I was talking about 2D composition aspects. Okay, how to make 2D composition more effective and interesting. So use rule of third to place the focal point, the subject, and 2D composition. So on the intersections, to make the 2D composition more interesting and attractive, the component should have variation in size, variations, variation in shape, color, and pattern. So if you can manage all these aspects, if you can manage all these aspects, then the 2D composition or 3D composition also, you can apply the same concept in 3D also. Only then the object will have a depth in 3D composition, or else more or less same. Okay, so variation in size, variation in size shape, variation in color, and variation in pattern. So you are supposed to focus on the intersections. Focal point should be on the intersections. So as I told you, when you draw a shape on the intersection, the shape should not be parallel to the edge, or else it will not look interesting. Should be different angle. And again, if you want to place one more object, the angle object should not be parallel. See, anything parallel, it looks it creates a pattern which will not be interesting. Okay, so again, the variation size on the intersections. Then you can balance it. It should not be symmetry again. Okay, don't cut the shapes into the composition. When you're drawing shapes, for example, you should not cut the shape. this becomes 3D because front and back, two layers you can see. So you have to overlap the shape. So when you're coloring, this shape should be contrast to this shape, and this should be contrast to both the shapes here. So you can mix these two colors to get this color, or other way, you can regain paper white. So that will be interesting. Sometimes accidentally you get that kind of shapes. Yeah, you can carry the scale, but the thing that shows your skills. If you are using the scale and getting the straight line, then of course there is not a skill. You're using the scale. Okay, don't use scale to show your skills. If it is crooked line, also not a problem. They don't ask for neat line. They ask for the concepts. You understand? Okay. I was talking about 3D theme sketch. How to decide about the perspective concept. If it is anything related to interior, go for one-time perspective, straight view. Okay, and never draw two-time perspective for interior because you will not get much space to draw objects. Avoid two-time perspective and three-time perspective for interior. It depends on the subject again. Okay, so after deciding the perspective, you have to decide the eye level. What is eye level? It can be an anti view. Anti view means it's low angle. It should be zero eye level. And if it's bird's eye view, then it's a three-point perspective. The eye level will be higher on top of the page. Okay, if you say you're a dog in a kennel, so the dog height should be 1.5 feet. That's the average. So different dog breed you get, but the average dog height will be 1.5 feet. Then 5-year-old kid should be hip level. Why they use hip level? Because of the table height, and 1.5 feet is chair height. So everything depends on your furniture design and your uh, uh, object what we use. So that's how you decide the perspective concept according to the question. So the extreme perspective will be used in answer view, bird's eye view. Normal perspective, that means you are standing and you are walking or walking through a library. Yes, of course, it should be the eye level should be in the middle of the paper. Again, I tell you, the elements are more important. You just dump all the elements according to the subject. Whether it looks in perspective proper or not, don't worry about all the things. And shades and shadows or not, the object should look like that object what you're trying to draw. So don't worry about the perfection. Just dump the objects. It can be human figure or animal figure. No, no, perfect animal figure, perfect human figure. But the proportion should be proper, not detailed. It will be mentioned in the question itself, Gunashekar, Gunashri. See, we are not asking for, we will not ask for the perfectness in the sketch. It's not possible. Okay? Of course, they'll check your aptitude, the approach, your inclination towards the field, the tryingness. You cannot just say, oh, I don't know how to draw. Just draw what you know. Don't decide that I don't know. Okay? Just draw the elements what is relevant for the particular subject. Whether it can be in the perspective or may not be in the perspective. If you are good at it, by doing default you get it when you visualize. You understood? Okay. I think I answered all the questions. If you have anything left over, you can ask me right now. Okay, I'm closing the session for today. If you don't have any questions, um, hope that you had a very good and interesting session. I'll catch you sometime later. Bye. all of you, please hang on. There is one more session. Okay, guys. You can ask me any doubt if you, because one more faculty is supposed to join. Is taking time. So, meanwhile, you can ask me if you have any doubts related to drawing. And if you can hear me, yeah, you can carry that pencil to 6B pencil, 6B pencils. H2, that means HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, that many pencils. No, you will get two questions. You can take anything, either 2D or 3D. Landscaping means what do you mean by landscaping? Software pencil is F and HB, and H also software, but it's hard, light. So don't use H pencil for shading. On top of the H pencil, if you shade, it will not accumulate. It will not it will not get applied on the paper. So don't use H pencil for shading. No, Darshan. or else it won't look like a 3D objects, Akash. So tree should have one side light always. Not only tree, any object it will shade from one side. So it can be anything, Atharva. It can be 2D and 3D, or 3D and 3D, or it can be only 2D and 2D, or it can be a theme sketch, theme and theme. So unless you get into the examination hall or the paper, you cannot say that. You cannot assure. Is there any other questions? Yeah, 80 out of 80 is good marks. It depends on your other. If you target for 80, yes, of course you may get 75. If you target for more, then you may get exact. But in drawing is difficult because it's variable. You cannot go beyond 75. It's not that easy. Maximum you can get to 65, 70. That's it. Not like math or science. You get what you expect. Because the variables is there. 10% variable, not 10%. 90% of variables will be there. 10% will be guaranteed. All the criteria which I told you, you may lose your marks when you don't draw according to the question. They would have asked, for example, you are supposed to make a cover page design using the geometrical shapes for geometry textbook for 9th standard. The subject should be conveyed first thing when you look into the sketch. If that elements is not there, that 9th standard textbook is not shown, then the subject is not complete. So you lose marks. So what has been asked, just use it. You can go for more, not less. That's what I told. Extreme things. A fantastic perspective, a combination of 1 point and 3 point, and shades and shadows. There are beautiful textures on the surface of the object, and the light and shade, with the bounce light. So many aspects you can make the composition, make it to say, wow, excellent. Okay. Yeah, you can go for the dark shade, extreme dark shade, then give the tint of color. Don't color the whole thing. Everything is important what they ask. If they don't ask, it's not important. If they ask, definitely it's important. That's what you are supposed to do it. Or that's what they are asking for to do it. How can you decide it's not important or important, not important? If they ask, of course you're supposed to draw that, whether you know it or not. How much you know, you have to draw it. So you can manipulate with the scale. Uh, you can manipulate with the scale. For example, near object looks bigger, far object smaller. That is because of the distance, right? You can create perspective. With a concept, you can create perspective. Make the object smaller at far distance. There is nothing but perspective. So with the variations of size also you can make perspective. The straight view. But when you go for the extreme perspective, at the time you should understand the concept. Or else in simple way you can make a 2 point perspective and 1 point perspective, straight view, manipulating with the size of the objects.